Alright, quick video about speech and how to report speech when you're writing something. You know, I'm sure you've all read something where there's he said this, she said that, he said this, she said that, but there is some punctuation that is very specific to this activity, and we're going to talk about that punctuation. So there's a little bell work for you. If you happen to be in my classroom, you can do this on your bell work paper. If you are not, then you can do it wherever you see fit. Pause the video because answers are coming now. Okay. As you can see, where there weren't quotation marks, we put them, and where there were, we took them away. We also added commas to where we put the quotation marks on the answers. This slide you're looking at now is the answers. He said, comma, I don't want to go to Mud Island. I want to go, excuse me. My mom told me to do my homework. Mayor Wharton said, I'm glad to be mayor of the city. No, I don't want a pastry, he replied. I asked him if he would like a pastry. 4 and 5 would most likely make more sense in opposite order than they are now. But, you know, it's not that big a deal. And there's a few notes. Just reported speech and direct speech. 2 different methods of writing about what someone said. Pretty easy. So we're going to start off with a little story. This is Bill. Hi, Bill. How you doing? Bill's hungry. He guess he, didn't eat enough and worked too hard today. And Bill is also very health conscious, so he wants to eat some organic vegetables. And he just says, I guess, to us that he wants to eat some organic vegetables. And we can report, this is direct speech. Bill said, I want to eat some organic vegetables. Or, I want to eat some organic vegetables, Bill said. Notice that the words in the quotation marks are the exact same words that are in the speech bubble here. Exact same words. Hence quotation marks, because it's a direct quotation, a direct quote. This is what you see in the newspapers very often. Direct quotes, and they're set off by these commas here. There's 1 comma, and here's another one down here I'm afraid to click on because that'll advance my slide. So a direct quotation is set off by commas. The punctuation at the end of the sentence, Bill said, comma, I want to eat some organic vegetables, period, quotation mark. End punctuation, again, goes inside the quotation mark. If the quotation is at the beginning of the sentence, you use a comma instead of a period. A comma instead. Generally speaking, that's going to be the best way to go, just for commas. If it's a question mark, you can use a question mark. If the direct speech is a question, you can maintain that question mark, but usually you'll be writing these commas if it's at the beginning to separate it from this tag. This is called a speech tag. Bill said. Yeah, it just says who said this quotation, who's responsible for it. Alright, so as Bill is talking about his hunger, Lucas is listening. Maybe he's a spy, or just a curious person. And he's talking to an orc, and says, that Bill sure is crazy. He said that he wanted to eat organic vegetables. He said that he wanted to eat organic vegetables. Now this is not direct speech. This is different. This is Lucas telling the orc what Bill had said, but not word for word, in a slightly less formal way. Even though Lucas got it right, organic vegetables, pretty easy. We don't have quotation marks, so we don't have exactly what was said. Notice, because Bill said I, because he was speaking in the first person, but Bill is talking or Lucas is talking about Bill, so he's going to use the third person, he, right there, instead of using an I, for example, because he's not talking about himself. And the ogre says, it's not so bad. I asked him why he chose organic, and he surmised that it was because they taste better. Surmise means guessed, figured. So now, here we have the orc is reporting some speech that happened between him and Bill. And if you can stop and think for a minute, if this is the reported speech, what was the direct speech? And if you'd like to, you can pause the video and you could write down what you think the direct speech would be. But if not... So here's the orc, and he's so rude and facing away because I couldn't make the clip art rotate. So, orc, this is in the past. I know I'm not looking at you and that's quite rude, but could you please tell me why you prefer organic vegetables? And which is the direct version of here. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's because they taste better. And those two direct quotations are summed up in this little block of reported speech. So just a bit of a recap here. It's not rocket science. We have direct speech and reported speech should be. My bad. I'll fix that when I post it. That should be reported speech. There. And there's a list of properties of each sort of speech. Direct speech uses quotation marks, refers to the exact words that someone said, and is set apart by a comma. And reported speech uses no punctuation, gives the general sense of what was said, and uses a reporting verb. Also, reported speech is always in the past tense of some sort. It's always one tense backwards. Notice, Bill here says, I'm not sure exactly. I think it's because they taste better. All in the present tense. I am not sure. It is because. But here, well, the main verb here surmised that it was because that the main verb is in the past, and I asked him why he chose organic. He said that he wanted to eat, as opposed to here is I want to eat, because we're reporting it, so it's got to be something from the past. Okay, so here's some examples of direct and how you would say that in reported. Bill said, I'm so hungry I could eat an orc. Bill said that he was so hungry he could eat an orc. Again, was so hungry, I am so hungry. The orc replied, you'd better not try. And reported is the orc replied that Billy had better not try. Bill asked, are you real? Billy asked if the orc was real. Was real. Notice this in the past. Of course, retorted the orc. And here the orc responded in the affirmative. I could have used the word retorted, I suppose. But this one's a bit different because we have to try to just give the sense of what the orc had said without repeating him word for word. Okay, so that's the difference between direct speech and reported speech. And it's just different ways of saying what someone else said. And when you're writing something, it's good to have a mixture of both because, it just adds a little, diversity to your work, I suppose. So always make sure that you have some direct and some indirect speech in your writing because that makes it more interesting to read rather than the same type of speech over and over and over again, which could get very boring very quickly. All right, thank you very much.